Gotta hit the button up in this joint. You figure deal me? Gotta hit the button up in here. Gotta let the people come into place. As you come in, you know how we get down. Y'all know how we get down. Make sure when you walk in other people's house, you must speak. So make sure you introduce your face in the place. Miss McGee, Miss Patricia McGee, she always the first in the building. That's what I'm talking about. To see the ladies, the senior aunties are in the building. Is all I'm telling y'all. So if you are not one of our beautiful aunties, don't get yourself in no trouble. Make sure you introduce yourself. You know what I'm saying? Make sure. You can go on my YouTube or my Facebook, either one. What's my name? Omega Red is in the building with the big salute. Miss Bridget Maxey is in the building. You know what I'm talking about? The beautiful Miss Patricia McGee is always in the house. The wonderful Miss KJ is in the building. The R.A. Raw is in the building. That's new snacks, new to the channel. What's up, Raw? Okay. The beautiful Miss Sharon Lewis is in the building. Y'all know how we do. You must take the first few to introduce yourself and get comfortable. Miss Brown is in the building. The beautiful aunties be showing up. I'm telling y'all, y'all don't know. Audrey Williams is in the building. Big Friday. Good afternoon from Memphis. Don't forget about the uncles. What's up, Unc? The uncs are in the house. Y'all make sure the uncs are in the house. Rob, good old Cleveland, Ohio. I ain't been to Cleveland in a minute. You know, I got peoples up there. You know, I ain't been to see my folk, but, you know, I got to do what I do. Robert is in the building from good old Quebec. Quebec, Canada is in the place. Y'all, our people just be stepping in, doing their thing. The beautiful Miss Myra Johnson. Good afternoon. Hey, snacks and everyone's. Hey, we up in here. Eric Woodward. You ready to hear the latest screw ups of the Browns committee? No, we ain't talking about this. We know about the screw ups. Today, we getting into the business of this collusion and other things, because you know things is popping. Robert, my good boy, my partner, my player partner, Robert, from the great Denver, Colorado, is in the building. And I like to remind everyone, Robert, I know you hate when I do this to you, but my boy Robert is of the Caucasian persuasion. and he don't play no games. I'm just trying to tell y'all. So when y'all see Robert in the chat, y'all give Robert some love. Because Robert is the homie. Robert ain't gonna play with y'all at all. Y'all come in here with that foolishness. Robert gonna shut it down. Ohio is in the house. Morado. The beautiful Marissa is in the building. Fatima is in the house. The beautiful Miss Sabrina Campbell is in the house. Like I always say, she's just a couple of hours away. Houston, H-Town. And as always, you see it. You see it right there. You see it. You see that icon. Lady PC is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Lady PC is in the building. And y'all know how we get down here on the table. Oh, that's loud. That's my fault, y'all. That is on. Y'all know we ain't finna do it like that. We got to go soft, sweet, and sexy today because we going to hit them in the face. Now that the people are in the building. Robert, with that membership, appreciate you, Robert. Just so y'all don't know, Robert just became a YouTube member. Robert is in the building. Appreciate the membership, Robert, along with a few others. So if y'all don't know, the channel memberships are there. Just like you already know, we shall take your super chats and other things sometime during the show. Sometimes we just stop the show and read them. It don't matter. We do what we do. Eric Woodward is in the building. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm a lifelong Brown from Shreveport, Louisiana. But I question that decision every day. The more they mess over Shedeur. I told y'all, man, my big brother is a lifelong Cleveland Browns fan. Lives in Indiana, but he is a Cleveland Browns fan. I don't know how that happened. Happened when we was overseas. One of the dumbest decisions he's ever made. But I get to punish him about that decision quite often. And then he gets to remind me that, sir, you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, so you ain't got much to talk about. And he right. We both in the same boat, but at least we have won some Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? We do have a dynasty to speak of. The Browns just couldn't talk about Jim Brown. But it is what it is. Y'all know how we get down. I know y'all ready to get the show on the road. And as always, I appreciate y'all for taking your time out of your day and coming to sit down and holler at your boy. But y'all know what time it is. I hope you got your snack. I hope you got your drink. You know I got mine. It's lunchtime. Ladies, let me pull your chair up. Fellas, you're going to have to help yourself. Let's sit down. Let's break bread. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the lunch table. And as you know, no show will be started. No show will begin without us giving our props and giving the salutes to the special ladies of the CU Aunties. So when you see the CU Aunties in this chat, or you catch them in the comment section of one of my videos or anybody else's, make sure you pay your respect. Give the ladies a shout out. And don't act up. Because the rejected will be respected. And we'll catch you in these YouTube streets and be about that business. You know what I'm talking about? So let's get this show started. You know? As we know, yesterday, retired NFL vet, Hall of Famer, Eric Dickerson, was on the radio And as we all suspected, as we've all talked about, as we have all assumed since Shedeur was drafted 144 in this year's NFL draft, that collusion was afoot, that something was wrong, that there was no way that a guy that talented, that a guy that plays football that brilliantly could be dropped to the 5th round of the 144th pick by the freaking Cleveland Browns of all people. But Eric Dickerson was on the radio the other day, and he dropped the knowledge that, hey, the NFL said, don't draft that guy. But don't hear it from me. Dan Patrick dropped the knowledge that everybody's talking about right now. And all I want to say, and it goes a little something like this.
Dickerson was on a radio show, Fred Rogan and Rodney Peete on AM 570, and had this to say about Shedeur Sanders.
And I'll tell you this much here, what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him, do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that. Draft
really?
him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't going to draft him either. They weren't going to draft him.
Your thoughts, Albert?
Yeah, I always think these sorts of conspiracies are a little overdone. I don't think there was any conspiracy here. I think it's relatively simple what happened.
Now, as we've often said in this chat or on my channel, that we knew that Shedeur, there was no way that Shedeur without something being wrong. They tried to say that it was the draft interviews, it was the combine interviews, that he was arrogant, that so many other things went wrong. But what started it all and all that hate was his father. We all know that they don't like Deion. We all know that Deion showed up in college football and shook up the world. They was fine with him being an on-air personality working for the NFL Network, CBS, and places in that area. But for Deion to show up in college football, to show up in a space where you got to earn it, where you have to grind your way to the top, and for Deion to automatically get that seat, he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But when Deion was in the NFL, he had already rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Because if you don't know the history, and if you don't know who Deion is, if you've never seen Deion play, then you are completely lost as to why all of this is happening. And I've been watching a lot of the ESPN Cleveland radio hosts and talk show hosts, and they are simply oblivious to why something like this would happen to Shedeur. Why would you choose Shedeur out of all the people that have done something wrong in the NFL, out of all the criminals that work in the NFL, out of all the people that were drafted in this draft class? Why Shedeur? And my answer is simply his father. Exhibit A.
As a father, are there teams you'd prefer he didn't play for?
There's a lot of teams I prefer that he didn't play for. That's just like saying, aren't there teams that you don't want to watch? That you hit the remote, you just hit the clicker like that? You darn skippy. right. It's teams I didn't want to play for. So why wouldn't I want my kids? No, come on, man. I'm a dad. I'm a real dad that has a lot of information about the NFL. I know some folks who know some folks who know some folks in the NFL, and I know what's behind the curtain. So definitely, I'm going to lead them in the right direction.
But how do you navigate that?
I would meet with them behind the closed doors. I would not call them out. I would not put them on Front Street and talk about their organization, because people work too hard to make it right instead of a guy like me ignorantly saying something wrong. I would meet with them privately and talk about my concerns so we could have an understanding.
Has that happened already?
Yes.
How many teams?
A few. I just want to know. I just want to know why. If you don't get your whys answered, you're going to always be curious in life. So I like to get my whys answered, because this is my guy. I mean, these are my kids. This ain't.
Hey, the man just wanted to get his whys answered, because those are his kids. And that is part of the reason why they didn't want to draft Shedeur. It is part of the reason why the NFL felt that it was their time to show who they were. Because a lot of these people who don't like Deion, who are currently in positions to make decisions on teams, also played with Deion back in the day. And they couldn't get him then. They can get him now. And the only way to touch Deion is through his kids. You can't bother with Deion the player because he was brash, because they thought he was arrogant, because they thought he was cocky because of all the gold chains, the sunglasses, the hats, the cars, the mansions, playing 2 sports, doing more than they thought he should do, all the while being great at it. Not just good, but being great. And that's where a lot of that hatred comes from, because Deion just didn't talk the talk. He also walked the walk. He did that thing. He did a lot of what most of them wanted to do, but couldn't do. He just didn't tell you he was going to do it. He told you right before he went and done it and did it, because it wasn't just talk. It's only arrogance and it's only bragging if you can't do it. Let me tell you that again. It's only arrogance and it's only bragging if you can't do it. A lot of people don't like Deion because of his lifestyle, because of the things that he has done in his life. And it rubbed off on his kids. And he raised his boys to be him, to be them, to be great at everything they do. And that was part of the problem with Shedeur coming into the NFL. They felt Shedeur was much like his father, too cocky, too brash, too much of everything. Shedeur was his father times 2, but this time he's a quarterback. He plays the most important position in the NFL. It's just not no doggone cocky wide receiver or cocky cornerback. See, if Shedeur was in that position, then they wouldn't care, because receivers and cornerbacks are perceived as divas in the NFL. T.O., Chad Ochocinco, and plethora of others. So that is not frowned upon when it's like that in the NFL, when you play that position. But being a quarterback in the NFL, they want you to be quiet. They want you to be peaceful. They want you to be humble, is the word mostly used when going into this draft for Shedeur. They wanted him to be humble. They didn't want all them diamond chains, see, because his daddy wore gold chains. His daddy still wear gold chains. But Shedeur is up another level. Shedeur wearing gold diamond chains, platinums with diamonds in it, shining, glistening. You can see him from across the room. That's not what they want. That's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for all that. That's not what the NFL is. That's not what an NFL quarterback is. But when Shedeur told them, if you don't want somebody to change your program, then don't draft me. And see, that's what they was looking for. They was looking for something like that. They was looking for an excuse. And they got it. But these boys in Cleveland still don't get it.
Would they collude? Here's where he loses me. Why would they pick Shedeur Sanders? First of all, likable kid. I don't care. The people that don't pay attention don't think he's likable because they don't know anything about him. The people that called us about nepotism, and it's like, have you ever actually watched him deal with people in the community?
The most famous call we had was nepotism, and then the guy wanted to take Arch Manning.
Yeah, I know. In the very next sentence.
He's thrown about 6 passes in his college career so far.
And there's one clip during a game that has been referenced of him being kind of crappy towards an opposing ball boy. Okay. I mean, do you want to show Baker Mayfield and how he acted towards people on a football field with utter disdain? Okay, so that one doesn't pass muster with me. Why Shedeur? Someone's got to explain to me why. You say, oh, he built a brand. Have you seen Caleb Williams? Have you seen Jaden Daniels? Like, all these guys not only transfer, they play at 3 different high schools, 3 or 4 different colleges. Mm-hmm. They all have NIL money now. They all have.
Let's take it right there. Yeah, because we've seen Caleb Williams and we've seen Jaden Daniels. But have you seen Shedeur Sanders? Have you seen who he is? Have you seen his fan base? Not everybody else's, his. He over 4 million strong over there. He has a true fan base that follows him and does the things that he asks them to do, that support him in every way. So don't compare Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams to Shedeur Sanders, because they're not the same. Same color, same age group, same position, but still they are not the same. Caleb Williams' father wasn't famous. Caleb Williams' father don't move mountains when he talks. Caleb Williams' father doesn't have the support of half the freaking nation. Jaden Daniels' mom, because it's his mom, it's not his father, it's his mom. She's with him all the time. And she's a very popular lady. We see her everywhere he goes, and they make sure that they put her front and center on every time he's on TV. They make sure that everybody knows, hey, that's his mom. And she right there with her. But Shedeur, his father, is a mover of things. He got NFL connections. He got MLB connections. He got people in television networks. So don't tell me that those two are the same when they are completely different people. Shedeur is of the ilk of a superstar kid. Shedeur has been famous since he's been 9 years old. We have literally watched Shedeur Sanders, Shilo Sanders, Shalimar grow up from kids. We watched Shedeur Sanders through high school. We watched Shedeur Sanders through college. And it only got bigger. All I can tell you is the Cleveland Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders behind a quarterback that they knew that wasn't better than Shedeur Sanders. But let's finish with 92.3 The Fan, with Ken and Carmen, because they got questions.
A brand. They all have a huge social media following. Welcome to the future of the NFL. So explain to me, whether it's Eric Dickerson, whoever, the conspiracy loses when you tell me it's a guy that ends up getting taken in the 5th round. That's where they lose me.
Why
doesn't make any sense.
him?
In fact, he seems like an awesome guy to promote if you're the NFL.
There's just no way.
Think of how many fans. Think how many fans are now paying attention to the Browns preseason games. And then the minute he's on the 4th on the depth chart, they might go away. But why would you not want that as part of your marketing wing? Where I know the NFL markets teams, they also get a lot out of marketing some of the individuals.
But Shedeur doesn't need the NFL to market him. This is something they got totally wrong. And this is what happens when you don't know the culture, when you don't know the history. Because everybody that I've listened to in Cleveland has yet to bring up Deion Sanders, has yet to bring up his past, has yet to bring up why this even started. Nobody knows. But all they can say is, why would the NFL do this? Why wouldn't they do this? When a man told you that he was going to make the choice, if he didn't like where his kid was drafted, he would help his child go to another team that said, yeah, I've already talked to a few teams. I talked to them in the background. We ain't putting it on Front Street like the Mannings did. We're not doing the Mannings, but we might pull a Eli. See, because Archie Manning told you. Archie Manning said, don't draft my son, San Diego, because we're not coming. If you draft Eli, he is not going to San Diego. But now when Deion does it, it's a problem. See, listen here, little black man. You don't get that kind of power. That's what they wanted to say. But they didn't. They just said, we'll show you. Because before the draft, every pundit, every person that does the draft, from Todd McShay, Mel Kiper Jr., let's just stop at them two. Todd McShay, Mel Kiper Jr. Because those are the voices of the NFL when it comes to draft. Those are the two that they promote. Those are the two that they trust. Those are the two that they put front and center and say, hey, this is the information you need to listen to. With both of them having Shedeur going in the first round, all of a sudden, he drops to 144 out of nowhere. This is what we do. All of a sudden, every draft pundit, we gonna have those that come out of the woodworks and say, yeah, I told y'all Shedeur wasn't nothing. We just know y'all hate us. We just know y'all don't like Deion and all the things that happened in Colorado and all the swag and all the attention they was getting in Colorado. We know that. We know that. Deion Sanders is the only college coach to have all 12 of his games broadcast on national television, on major TV stations. We ain't talking about ESPN2. We ain't talking about ESPN Plus. We ain't talking about nobody's app. We ain't talking about none of that. We talking ESPN, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. Every last one of them. All 12. There is not a college in college football that has ever had that happen. See, this is how all this started. Shilo Sanders is the only college coach to have game day and big noon kickoff on their campus at the same time, broadcasting on the same Saturday. The only one to ever pull that off. He didn't ask for it. They came to him and said, hey, we coming. Who gonna turn it down? Shilo Sanders is the only coach to have ESPN game day at a HBCU. And he did it more than once. This is why this is like this. This is why they wanted to punish Shedeur. You too big. We need to humble you coming into our NFL. Nobody is bigger than the Shield. So we gonna teach you a lesson, young man. You go back there in the corner and sit down and don't come out until we tell you to. See, they want to punish the son because they couldn't touch the father. It's what I need for all of y'all who don't know this history to understand. Did you see Cleveland's face in the draft room when they drafted Shedeur Sanders? It was looking kind of strange. Did nobody clap? Did nobody smile? Did nobody stand up, shake hands, hug? None of that. But they did that for every other draft pick they had. But they want to tell you there's no conspiracy. But they want to tell you there is no collusion. There is no way the NFL would do that. But what happened to Colin Kaepernick? They lost that collusion case. Michael Sands was the first openly gay football player. Roger Goodell called the St. Louis Rams and said, hey, I'm going to need y'all help. Because wasn't nobody in the NFL drafted no openly gay player. And Roger Goodell said, hey, St. Louis, he played for Missouri. Y'all need to draft y'all hometown boy. Do me a solid. What you call that? To avoid that collusion case, Roger Goodell called the St. Louis Rams and said, draft this man so we don't get sued. He was projected to go in the 3rd to 5th round. They didn't draft him because he was gay. Roger Goodell had to make a phone call to get him drafted. So you can't tell me it wasn't no collusion. We got a collusion case, the thing they just dropped about Baltimore and Cleveland and this guaranteed money that they paid Mr. Watson. That collusion just got proven. So you can't tell me the NFL does not collude when they do. It's written. It's in stone. A quarterback that is highly sought after, projected to be a first-round draft pick, only gets drafted in the 5th round behind 4 other quarterbacks that he's better than. And everybody in Cleveland and on the radio, except for a few, are hollering there's no collusion. Well, let's run this back.
And Shedeur would be one of those.
Why him, though? All the reasons you make is why a team would draft him and why the NFL wouldn't be calling people to not draft him. So unless he's the devil in disguise and we have no idea about that, why on earth would the NFL do that? That's where I'm lost on it.
No, you're lost because you don't know the history and you're not part of the culture. See, being a part of the culture is mandatory. It's necessary if you want to get on these YouTube airways and talk that talk. We got another $10 super chat from East Coast Kev with the statements that Eric Dickerson made. Not only did we know it all along, but this proves why Prime should never coach in the NFL. Why would he want to go through that? Let me tell you why, Kev. Let me tell you why. I just told this story, what's going to happen, and why Deion Sanders is going to coach in the NFL. And he's going to coach at the Dallas Cowboys. And he's going to coach both of his sons and probably Travis. In 3 to 4 years, Juju will graduate or go to the NFL. And that is the only reason Prime is in Colorado right now. Once Juju is done, because that's the biggest promise he made, Prime will go to the NFL. Prime turned down Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys this year for the Dallas head coaching job. Just so everybody, let's keep that clear. Prime turned down the head coaching job of the Dallas Cowboys because he has to stay at Colorado because he made a promise. He made a commitment. And he's going to honor that commitment and honor that promise because that's what type of dude Prime is. That's just him. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't question that man's character. And if you do, something wrong with you, is all I'm saying. Prime has done more than enough. Prime has proven himself more than worthy in the college game. To be honest, Prime don't even have to win a title at this point. Because Prime has done in college what most college coaches will never do in their 20, 30-year college careers. Prime has a Heisman Trophy winner. It took him 4 years. He won everything he could win at the HBCU level, except for the Celebration Bowl. But he did win the conference 2 years in a row. He has an undefeated season. In the Power 4, he hasn't won the Big 12. They'll probably do that this year. And the only thing that'll be left for him to do is win a national title. Simply because he said he wants to be the first black coach to win a national title. And he might can do that with the things and the money that's starting to transfer to Colorado. Them 5-star picks that he wasn't getting because he couldn't pay for them. Yeah, he gonna get them now. And now it's not gonna cost him a ton of money because he has a superstar quarterback already there. Only thing he needs is one more to back him up. And every other position they can easily pay for. So don't get it twisted. Prime them building a monster in Colorado. But back to the situation at hand. Because these boys are lost. But Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, and my boy, Lil Shannon, had something to say about it.
Listen, when we watched the draft, you wonder why Mel Kiper was going off the way he was?
Man, Mel was losing
his mind because he know good and well he was a top 3 pick in the first round. He knew that. We all knew that. If you watch the game of football, if you look at the quarterbacks that went before Shedeur, I mean, hello. The only one who's looked decent this offseason, this preseason, he plays in New York. He plays in New York. Outside of that, the Saints still don't have a quarterback.
No.
The Saints picked at 9, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there might have been 9.
That was 9.
The Steelers still don't have a quarterback.
At 21. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
21.
And then the people that are oblivious, that purposely turn the blind eye and act oblivious. Oh, why would the owners collude? Why would they care? I'm like, you know what? And it's like, it's almost like you can't be that
Naive.
Come on, man. Y'all pick and choose when to use logic, when to have common sense, when to see the bigger picture, when to understand why they would this specific individual. Like, come on, man.
Ocho, this is what ED said. This is his full quote. I tell you this much. What I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told teams, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're going to make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, But apparently, Shedeur had fallen much further than anticipated, and some league officials called the Browns and forced them to take him with the 144th overall pick. He said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that, draft him. Because they weren't going to draft him either. They were forced into drafting him because somebody made that call to them. I heard a very similar situation with the Michael Sam situation.
Oh, yeah.
So this is not now I'm not saying that this is true. I'm not saying the Michael Sam's situation is true, but I did hear that there was a call, and it's funny that the Rams drafted the kid from Missouri.
He wasn't that good, huh?
No, he wasn't.
I'm with Shannon. No, he wasn't good.
He wasn't. I mean, some tried to make it about his orientation. But Ocho, if he could have got 15 sacks, hell, his boyfriend could have been a cheerleader. they wouldn't have given a damn. Please. You know the NFL is a business. They buy, can you do whatever your position is, can you do it? If you're a quarterback, can you throw? If you're a receiver, can you catch? If you're a DB, can you break on the ball, knock the ball down? If you're a D lineman, Ocho, can you bend the edge? Can you get to the quarterback? I don't care. All that other stuff.
Oh, yeah. That was funny. But that was funny.
I'm just being true. And the thing is, the chat know I'm telling the truth. I don't care nothing about that.
Man. That man said if he could tackle the quarterback, his boyfriend could have been a cheerleader. Shannon the fool, boy. But it's all true. It is what it is. This is not the first time the NFL has done this. But see, this one right here was blatant. This one was out in the open. Because, see, there was no way that you can convince anybody else that all those people drafted before Shedeur was better than him. Those quarterbacks, we know better. See, this was too obvious. Maybe you could have got away with it with a defensive back, with a lineman, with a something else. But a quarterback, the most obvious position in football, the most standoutish football position in football, there is no way you can make us believe that he done something so egregious that he shouldn't have been drafted in the first round or the second round at the latest. But 144? Oh, hell no. Nobody believes that. There is not a person walking on earth. It's some haters because they want him to be there. But if you know football, if you watch football, then you know that's not even possible. Why would you even do that? Why would you even try to make us think that his interviews was so bad that not one team, not one out of 32 teams, out of 5 rounds, thought that Shedeur was a good quarterback? See, but I've been telling y'all from the jump, they meant for Shedeur to go undrafted. And you can't, they meant for him to go undrafted. I've been saying this since the draft. It's on video. Go back and watch him. They meant for him to go undrafted. They wanted to punish that family because they've been shining too hard and getting too much attention, and you've been doing all the things you wanted to do outside of there. But they wanted you to know that this is their NFL and you don't run nothing. I told y'all when they did that, they made Shedeur fan base stronger than what it was. And they screwed the pooch. They messed themselves up. This is the NFL's fault. Why Shedeur's fans are screaming so loud. Why the fans are coming out of the woodworks. Because he didn't have people that had supported him out in the open this much, this hard, this long for no reason. Because everybody saw what you did to him. That's why he gets this much support. I've been telling y'all since day one. Jimmy Haslam broke rank. He did what they didn't want him to do. When nobody's supposed to draft Shedeur. And Jimmy Haslam said, shit, that's too much money up there. That's too much money just sitting there. And I want it. But see now, what made it even worse is when Jimmy Haslam did that press conference a couple of weeks ago. And he said, hell, I ain't even want Shedeur. That's all on Andrew Berry. Oh yeah, you did. So now Eric Dickerson say, somebody told him not to do it. So that makes sense when Jimmy Haslam driving home Friday night. On Saturday, you get that phone call and say, hey, y'all owe us one. You know what, Jimmy? You owe us one. And we gonna need you to draft Shedeur. But I already drafted a quarterback. We don't care. Get another one. Get another one. Why you think they were sitting up there looking dumbfounded when he was drafted? But hold on. My girl Maggie Gray started this Shedeur campaign. She didn't like it. But lately she been coming around.
I don't know if I can buy that somehow there was a conspiracy going on in the NFL that everyone colluded not to draft Shedeur. It would take a lot of people in a smoky room to pull that kind of thing off, although we know that the NFL owners have gotten together when what happened? Deshaun Watson's salary became fully guaranteed $230 million, and we know because of all the stuff that was going on in the NFLPA that came out after that owners were not happy about it and made that known amongst the inner circle. They were mad at Jimmy Haslam. So could I see Roger Goodell, as Shedeur is sliding, saying, you know what, Jimmy, you owe us all a favor here. You owe us one. Draft him here so that the NFL will not be accused of colluding and keeping Shedeur out. And Roger Goodell, who has stepped in different times in the past to ask teams to draft people.
Like Michael Sam, yeah.
Famously happened with Michael Sam. He went to the Rams and said, as the draft is going on, Michael Sam, first openly gay player who was going to be drafted. And we know later Goodell went to the Rams and said, do me a solid. And they did it.
Oh, so no, but the NFL don't collude. They don't do none of that. You know, they don't do none of that. Don't none of that happen. You know what I'm saying? But let me show you what they were before Shedeur got drafted. Listen.
Ways I kind of understand what Dion's talking about here, right? Like, I imagine that Dion's probably never seen any of this from his kid or anything that he thinks rises to the level of being unprofessional.
Totally, except that I don't think Shedeur is the reason that Shedeur fell to the 5th round. Will Howard fell to the 6th round? I don't think Will Howard's dad is on a podcast criticizing NFL teams. Dion, you're the reason he fell. Obviously, there's no other possible explanation for him going in the 5th round than teams didn't want Dion in their building.
I'm saying it's all right there. It's all out there. They scared of Dion. They don't like the way things was going. You know, it's too many coincidences. And we don't believe in coincidence. They didn't like Shedeur because of what Shedeur said when he was at the podium. When he never mind.
I ain't trying to change the franchise or the coach that don't give me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people got to say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like diversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
I'm just saying, that is not a lie. Nowhere did he tell a lie. He just told the truth. Those are all facts. And they call that cocky. They call that arrogant. They was too busy talking about the doggone diamonds on his neck to worry about anything else. He got his hat on backwards. What the hell they got to do with anything? It's a hat. It can go to the front or to the back. It don't make no difference. But that's the NFL Combine. That wasn't all he said, though.
Went through 6 different OCs, so I'm able to adjust to any offense and every scheme and make it work. We went from Jackson State to Colorado and changed 2 programs back to back. So you don't think I could come to an NFL franchise and change the program again? It's history. We done it again. It's always gonna repeat itself.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You don't think I can come to an NFL franchise and change it around too? He ain't lying. He ain't lying. Cleveland ain't never had this much press since they've been in existence. Cleveland has been the front line of every story every day. Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders. Not the Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders. He didn't lie. I would play the other one where he told y'all I don't need it. Where I go, the media gonna go too. I don't need to be propped up. I know what it is. That man ain't never lied. He's the best quarterback in the draft. I got a professional that'll tell you so.
I thought he was first-round talent. I don't know the guy. I still, it's sort of a mystery to me why he fell as far as he did. But when I watch him, he's accurate. He throws with anticipation. The ones that are successful, you can almost see the future, right? You have to be able to anticipate. You have to throw guys open. If you wait to see a guy open, especially as you rise to the NFL level, then you're behind and you're just not going to be successful. And Shedeur seems to be able to anticipate well. I liked watching him play in college. Again, he didn't have a ton, of help up front. He was getting hit. It's another thing that I look for. It's not just the durability piece, but it's the mental toughness of knowing that you're going to get hit the next play, but still standing in there and delivering the ball and doing that over and over again. That's a hard thing to learn. It really is a hard thing to learn. I don't know if you can learn it. And Shedeur seems to have that ability to take his hits and keep battling.
Right. That's an NFL legend. That's Drew Bledsoe. That's Drew Bledsoe. He took Tom Brady took his job. I'm just saying, dog. It's the real way. It's the real way. What they got a problem with is this. That's what they got a problem with. They got a problem with that. That kind of happiness. That kind of fatherhood. That man that raised his kids to be unapologetic, to be yourself. I told y'all when Shedeur went in those meetings, he was asking questions. And they didn't like that. They felt like you didn't have the right to ask us no questions. There's no way you're asking NFL coaches and NFL owners and offensive coordinators questions. You heard him. It felt like he was interviewing us. He made us feel small. No, he just knew what to do. He was raised by an icon. One of the most prolific football players to ever lace up cleats. He was taught by Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and people of that ilk. You think he was coming in there unarmed and didn't know what he was doing? And see, they didn't like that. What gives him the nerve to come in here and question us? Ask us how we gonna do this, what we gonna do for that, and what if this happened, and how we'll fix this, and how we'll help him with that. What you mean? See, what they don't like is when that happens. See, when he out there shining, it's them diamonds. It's them diamonds. It's that shine. It's that smile. It's that he just too damn likable and everybody like him. And we got to figure this shit out because we don't need him that up on himself when he come into this league. Because his father got on our nerves. And we don't want that. We couldn't get Dion back in the 90s. We couldn't make him pay. He was too good. We can't let Shedeur come in here with that attitude. We got to stop that now. So that he knows who run this. Because his daddy didn't care. But see, the problem is, he come in the door educated, well-taught, rich. He was rich when he got there. Well-spoken, well-mannered, super likable, and too much like his father. What Roger Goodell said? I ain't worried about you. I'm scared of your dad. Tell me you didn't say it. That's all I want y'all to do. That's what Roger Goodell said. All I'm saying is, on draft night,
only worth what people are willing to give you or spend on you.
Every time.
No matter what we think about Shedeur Sanders' tape, no matter what Shedeur Sanders thinks about his tape or what he's put on film to this point, they let him know tonight. 32 teams, right? The Giants twice, the Atlanta Falcons twice, let you know we don't need you. And that's okay. That's their right. Like, that's their job. They are staking their job on the names that they call tonight, right? On the person whose phone they hit up and say, hey, man, are you ready to be? Nobody felt that way about Shedeur Sanders, and he has to own that. That doesn't mean he's not a good football player. That doesn't mean he's not talented. That doesn't mean he doesn't have the potential to be great. But what it meant was these 32 teams don't think you were better than the opportunities that they had to pick other people. And you got to wear that. This is his first bit of public football adversity. And I'm not talking about going to Colorado and playing with a bad offensive line and being on a bad team. Because even through that, he was shining, right? Even through that, he was making plays. You got superstars that are there to see you week after week after week. But that's always been attached to your father, too. And I'm not saying he's only gotten things because of that, but you mentioned Deion's guidance. It hasn't been, I'm your father, I'm gonna guide you from afar. Right. It's been lockstep every step of the way. This was the first situation Deion Sanders couldn't control.
Yeah. ...
What you gonna do now?
Yes.
How you gonna show up? You supposed to have a chip on your shoulder, but do you show up ready to work? Do you show up with the humility that you gotta show up with now because you're not a first-round pick? Do you say, I'm going to prove myself right that I should have been, that I'm as good as Cam Ward or better, that I'm as good as Jackson Dart or better? And what's your attitude while doing it? Everything about Shedeur Sanders pre-draft has been about his personality, been about entitlement, been about being arrogant or not showing humility. Tonight, tomorrow, going forward, that's the time to show humility. That's the time to say, I can't control that, but I can control how I come to work.
Hold up.
One second. What's going on? How you doing, man? Hey, look. You doing all right? You gotta let my brother have his way in the league. Yeah, you gotta.
I'm worried about your pop. So, how you doing?
What you worried about him for?
Hey, big guy.
One second. Oh. That wasn't Roger Goodell saying he worried about his pop. He worried about his pop. All of them. Worried about his daddy. What you worried about his daddy for? You're not drafting his father. His father got a job. And he's very good at that. But you worried about his dad. Everybody's worried about Deion. And that's just part of it. Yes, a lot of these coaches are worried that Deion would take their job. And with cause to worry that Deion would take their job. But Deion told y'all, I signed that contract early so we could get that out the way. So would nobody have no worries about me coming to take their job. That's what he said. Live on the air. I got it. I could pull it up and play it for y'all. But that's what he said. I signed this contract because I could have got some more money. Deion could have been the highest paid college coach in the college. And he deserves it. But Deion said, I signed this contract to get it out the way
so my son could go in the draft and do his thing. So people wouldn't be worried about me taking their job or me coming behind them the next year to take their job. You did all the things, but there is one person. There is one other person. The person that y'all would least expect that said the NFL was full of shit and was colluding against Shedeur Sanders.
He could be doing that, but here's why it's also a problem. And this is one thing that I will brag on myself about with seriousness. The one thing that I do is work. Now, Adam Schefter and other, these are the ultimate insiders, and I defer to them. They will know, they've forgotten more than I know in terms of their sources, their context, whatever. But damn it, I have a few. And I talk to a lot of people in the world of sports, a lot of power brokers, a lot of people that are decision makers and whatever. I heard a lot about what was going on with Shedeur Sanders coming into the draft. And I will contest to you, I will proclaim to you on national television that so much of what happened to Shedeur Sanders at draft day to drop to the 144th pick, a fifth rounder, when initially he was projected to be a top 2 or 3 quarterback taken in the draft, for all of that to happen to him, that was a slight, those were people that were hell bent on making sure that Deion Sanders didn't get his way. And they went and they punished his son to punish him. Deion knows it. I know it. Anybody with sense know it. We've all heard it covering this league. And that had a lot to do with it. It was personal, and it wasn't some collusion that was going on. They didn't have to, because universally they felt, they watched the interviews, they saw the way Deion Sanders was speaking or whatever, and that's what broke his heart. I'm telling you what I know. It broke his heart because he knew there's no way that his son was going to fall to a 5th round if it wasn't for people that was taking shots at him. We understand what's going on here. That's why Haslam was in his car on a Friday talking about, I can't see it happening, because they weren't going to let it happen.
Mad Dog?
First off,
Huh? Y'all heard Stephen A. Did y'all hear Stephen A? He said it out of his own mouth. Live TV. See, but he's one of the few that have said this has happened. But Stephen A didn't say somebody told me. He covered himself. But that man that wore them glasses, Mr. Eric Dickerson, run like a freight train coming out the hole. He said somebody from the NFL told me that they said, don't you draft Shedeur. Let's run it back.
On AM 570 and had this to say about Shedeur Sanders.
And I'll tell you this much here, what I heard from someone that the NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that.
Somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, hey, do not let him get out of this 5th round. Because if you don't get him, we're going to look like some dummies, and they going to come get us.
Draft
really?
Him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't going to draft him either. They weren't going to draft him.
Your thoughts, Albert?
Yeah, I always think.
Now let's listen to Albert Brill tell these lies.
I think these sorts of conspiracies are a little overdone. I don't think there was any conspiracy here. I think it's relatively simple what happened. I think the great majority of NFL teams did not view him as a first-round prospect, contrary to what had been out there for the year previous. And then I think what happens is once you get past the first round, you look at the history over the years, not a lot of quarterbacks go in the 2nd or 3rd rounds. It's just the reality of it, like that most teams look at it like if there's a guy who's going to be our long-term answer at the position, we just take him in the first round. And if a guy's not going to be your long-term answer at the position, then you probably aren't going to take him in the second or third round because you're going to be looking for a long-term answer at another position with those picks. So the fate of Shedeur Sanders, like, I think he fell out of the first round for football reasons. I think he kept falling for everything else, right? Like for the fact that most coaches look at their backup quarterbacks and say, I want you to blend in with the furniture. I don't want to notice that you're even here. You know, that's the way, for better or worse, most teams.
Now, why would you not? And hold on. See, that's part of the problem in the NFL today. That's part of the problem in the NFL today. The owners haven't adapted. The coaches haven't adapted. Haven't adapted to the times. Because most of these guys that are coming in are going to have major followings, are going to be bigger than the program. See, because we live in the social media age now. Cleveland, I'm surprised they still dealing with this right now, because they couldn't deal with Baker Mayfield doing simple State Farm commercials. They was pissed because Baker used to do State Farm commercials. That come with the territory. That come with being the quarterback. Ain't nobody got mad at Aaron Rodgers for all his State Farm commercials. But Cleveland didn't like Baker doing all those State Farm commercials. But the crazy part about it was he was doing them in Cleveland. Most of them was done in the stadium or right outside the stadium or in his house up the street. They just didn't want to see him shine. See, but this star they got right now, they ain't never seen the star this bright. They ain't never had to deal with somebody that's this popular. The NFL has never had this problem. Deion was popular. Deion was the man. But Shedeur has 3 times the popularity that Deion had when he was playing. And that is fact. We loved Deion when he was playing. But we couldn't hit Deion on Twitter and he'd respond back. We couldn't follow Deion on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok and see what he was doing every day. The only thing y'all had to do was come to Prime 21. Y'all the founders up in there chilling like a motherfucker, you know. But they couldn't do all that. Shedeur has that luxury. And today's athlete has that luxury. Antonio Brown put the whole Steelers locker room after the game on Facebook, on Twitter, live. You can't be mad at these players for being popular, for being super popular. Hell, Arch Manning ain't through with 15 passes in college, and he already projected to be the #1 pick in the draft next year. The man gonna make $10, $12 million in NIL money this year. Face all over my city. They love him down here in Austin. But y'all mad at Shedeur. But that's a Manning. So he get a pass. All I'm saying is, y'all need to stop hating on this kid for being him. That one right there. See all that? That's what they don't want to see. They don't want to see that shines. But you know what's going to happen? On Saturday, Shedeur playing behind Dylan Gabriel. Behind Mr. Joe Cool himself, Joe Flacco. And when he go out there and light it up, what they gonna do? I hope he go out there and throw for 250 and a quarter and 4 touchdowns. Because favor ain't fair. And he ain't done. Because I told y'all about messing with God's babies. Don't play with God's children, dog. You might not see it now. But you gonna see it. We got another super chat. Mr. Kurt Davis, if we all get on the same page and boycott the NFL and not watch or buy memorabilia, they lose their money. They lose some of their money. And it might be a small hit to them. See, the problem is the NFL don't make most of their money like they used to off of people coming to the games, selling parking passes, and selling concessions. Them TV right deals are mega stupid. I'm talking about super stupid. I'm talking about dumb, stupid. They make so much money off them TV deals. Yeah, people not watching. Now that hurts. But the TV deal is already made. So they're going to get the money anyway. I don't know when the next TV deal is up. But your boycott comes into play. Yeah, if you stop watching, they'll start losing advertising revenue. But your boycott helps even more when it's a year or two out before that TV deal is about to expire. And when they get ready to go into negotiations and them numbers look like boo-boo, and they thought they was going to go in there and get more, and they get less, because they're going to get the deal. And now that the NFL owns 10% of ESPN, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? All I know is that Shedeur plays on Saturday. And whenever he goes live, whenever he get in the game, we gonna watch it. We gonna watch it. All I'm saying is, this man right here, this one, that young boy, they don't like to see him shining. And they hate to see him smile. They hate to see them diamonds glistening around his neck, the way mine doing right now. They don't want to see all that. They don't want to hear all that. But he can't help it. This is his normal life. This ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing he just started. He been like this. This is just him. And they don't want him to be him. And that is their biggest problem. Now, we want to see how Cleveland's going to deal with it. Because I've been checking ESPN all day. I ain't heard nothing. And I mean not a peep about what Eric Dickerson said on yesterday. Which is crazy. Crazy. A NFL Hall of Famer drops something like that, and ESPN is silent on it all freaking day. Not one word. Has Fox said anything? I ain't seen it. I haven't seen the major two outlets running with this story or asking questions. Why is that? They supposed to be investigative reporters. They're supposed to be all over this thing. But why haven't we heard anything from Fox? Why haven't we heard anything from ESPN? Those are the two major sports news outlets in the world. Where they at? Why you silent? Somebody go check on Eric Dickerson. Make sure he ain't got nothing planted in his car. Make sure you get home safe. Because when you got both of the major networks silent, something is real. Y'all tell me. Because we trying to figure it out. We trying to get some understanding. So, an NFL Hall of Famer drops a bombshell. The NFL colluded to keep Shedeur from being drafted. No ESPN, no Fox. I saw Yahoo with a little write-up on it. I don't know if they dropped no YouTube videos, and gotta go check that out. But that's crazy, right? You got two of the biggest sports networks in the world, and neither one of them have uttered a word about this accusation, about this truth bomb, about these things being said on the national airway. Everybody is talking about it, but ESPN and Fox, really? How is that real life? How is that not a story? When I just watched Stephen A. yesterday on the Dan Levitard show say it don't matter that the NFL owns 10% of ESPN. We still gonna cover them like we don't work for them. They don't own us. We still gonna cover everything like we've been doing. Business as usual. Well, damn it, business changed today. Because I don't see no stories. I don't see no headlines. That's a major problem. This is the only thing people are talking about in sports. Ain't but two topics. Shedeur Sanders, why he the fourth quarterback in Cleveland. And why the NFL legend, a Hall of Famer, a man that rushed for over 2,000 yards in a season, say that the NFL colluded so Shedeur Sanders wouldn't be drafted in the 2025 NFL draft. Where's the coverage of Eric Dickerson at on ESPN and Fox? I didn't hear Mike Greenberg. Hell, I don't even hear Ryan Clark. And we know it. We don't hear Ryan Clark. Because Ryan Clark always got something to say. But we don't even hear Ryan Clark. I ain't seen a tweet. Hell, I ain't seen Robert Griffin III. Has he tweeted? Has Robert Griffin III said anything? All of the doggone legends are quiet. All the football people got the hush mouth right now. Why is that? Why are the NFL players quiet? When you have a Hall of Famer of that, a football player of that caliber, openly say that the NFL pulled the rug out from under Shedeur Sanders. And nobody has nothing to say. No RG3. No Ryan Clark. No Stephen A. Smith. Chris Canty. Nobody. Nobody. Mighty strange. Mighty strange. That's all I'm saying. You can't be quiet on this subject. Something should be said. So where we at? Stephen A. Smith just told us yesterday on the Dan Levitar show, just because the NFL owns 10% of ESPN, we are still going to cover it like we have before. Nothing's going to change. We still going to do the investigative report. We still going to cover coaches and players and anything that pops up, big topics, scandals, all that. We going to cover it as if the NFL doesn't own anything. And Levitar told him there's no way that can happen. And he wasn't lying. So this is where we are. This is where we are. Eric Dickerson has opened this can of worms, and you can't put the worms back in this can. You try to put them in there, they're going to break in half. So some of them going to always be out. All I'm saying now, the pieces, people are starting to talk. They're starting to put the pieces together. So this is why this happened, and this is why this happened. It's all happening in real time. And see, they can't do nothing but react. But now, the internet is ablaze. Ain't nobody getting away. Somebody got to answer these questions. We ain't got nothing from the NFL, nothing from the NFLPA, nothing from the owners, nothing from nobody. Everybody has shut up. Well, where's the denial? Where's that? There is no way this happened. Where is that? Roger Goodell, Jerry Jones, somebody, any one of these owners, say something. You're only making the situation worse. Silence right now is your enemy. Because these thoughts were already there. People were already thinking it. They were already talking about it. A credible source just said it. Somebody that was believable. Somebody that has never been in no trouble. Somebody that don't lie. Somebody who has not put himself in a compromising position. Never. But if you do nothing, say something. If it didn't happen, they would have said it didn't happen yesterday when he said it. When it came out. They'd have been so quick on the denial. But we almost 24 hours in. Matter of fact, we are 24 hours in. Because I made my video yesterday about it at about 1 o'clock. I just let it sit for about 3-4 hours and see who else was going to drop some videos on it. And plus, I had already dropped the video, so I ain't want to drop them back to back. I told y'all, sometimes I just have videos sitting waiting in queue. Because I saw that live on the Dan Patrick Show. Because I was watching it on my phone. And I was like, oh, no, he didn't. I'm finna go home and find this clip. Or I'm going to clip it myself. Because I know he didn't say that. Oh, we finna go. But where's your NFL? Where's your NFLPA? Where's some representative of anything that has to do with this football league to say, hey, man, that dude lying? We ain't do nothing like that. Why the hell would we do that? We ain't seen him. We ain't seen him. Patricia McGee, that show was live. If it was pre-recorded, it would have never made it on air. What y'all been talking about over here, chat? Uh-oh, we got another super chat from Kirk. Kirk Davis said, can't wait till tomorrow to watch G. Bush talk about it on the barbershop. Look, man, me and G. Bush was texting this morning. And G. Bush getting ready to go on vacation. Right? So y'all know Sunday won't be no me and G. Bush. Because I was hitting him up to see when he got off of UCSS, we could jump on for a little bit and talk about this thing. But he wasn't on UCSS today. And when he told me that, I was like, dude, you got to be there. Because these people don't know what they're talking about. I promise you, they are not going to understand this situation. And we need somebody up in there representing. And I turn on UCSS, and what do I see? No Tivers, no G. Bush. Wasn't no need of watching it. Because I knew they was going to be asking the same questions that they was asking on the radio. Why would they do this? The NFL has no reason to do this. They would never do this to a player. Why would they just pick Shedeur Sanders at random? This ain't random, stupid. This is what they do. Shedeur was targeted. This wasn't random. All of a sudden, 2 days, 3 days before the doggone draft, you get some weird story that he was coming into a meeting with his headphones on, that he was taking doggone selfies, he was taking video calls while in a meeting. Do you know who his father is? Do you know how he was raised? Do you know how he controls his football program? Do y'all think just because they're his sons, they get to get away with other stuff people don't get to get away with on the football team? No. That's what I'm saying. People in Cleveland trying to talk about this and do not know the answers. They don't know what happened. They don't know the history. They don't know about CU. They don't know how strict Prime is with his kids, let alone that football program. Prime just passed out his rules for going to class the other day on the Well-Off Media video. If you think them children can't walk in classroom in college with slides on, no wife beater, no headphones, can't sit in the back of the class, and you think his son gonna walk into a professional meeting unprepared with headphones on his hand, on his head, taking freaking video calls? Are y'all stupid? Y'all think we supposed to believe that? Come on, man. But this man, Eric Dickerson, who is well respected in this industry, who is known all across this country for being who he is, says this is what happened, but you will believe an anonymous coach. Y'all can take the anonymous coach word. He said it. because he an anonymous coach. This man put his name, reputation, and damn near his life. Because that's what the NFL is. The NFL is gangsters. That man put his name, his reputation, and everything he has worked so hard for on the line. Eric Dickerson, do you know how many relationships that this one little story might crumble for him? Do you know how much his life just changed by saying that? And you telling me he lying for that? Are you crazy? But you will believe the anonymous coach who won't put his name on it. We got time today, people. Why y'all tripping? Y'all believe the guy who will make up the story, who you think that you don't have no clue who he is, what his reputation is, what type of coach he is, even if he is a coach, even if he exists. Y'all will believe that man over a retired NFL Hall of Famer. Who put his name, his reputation, and more than likely his life on the line to make that statement. But we supposed to believe the dude that we don't know if he even exists? The hell out of here, man. Come on. Where y'all at? What y'all doing with yourself? That's why y'all be going and reading all them bot stories and watching all them bot videos on YouTube. Y'all don't believe anything. I seen a video titled the other day, Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel fighting. Fisticuff, hand-to-hand combat. That was in the title. Come on, man. We keep it 100 around here. On this side of the internet. We keep it real. But y'all will believe a man who won't put his name on it, won't put his brand on it, won't put his job in jeopardy. To tell a lie on a kid that's just trying to play the game he loves. But you know what? That dude that got that $100 million lawsuit against the NFL. I bet you they settle that one. They gonna have to settle it now. You know why? You know why they gonna have to settle it? Simply because of what's involved in that process. It's called a discovery phase. And if they get to discovery and them lawyers start looking at them emails and them phone calls and them text messages, oh, somebody going to jail. And it's real. What y'all talking about, chat? What's going on? What's happening? What's up, Amber? They can settle whatever. I want the discovery to come out anyway. Oh, yeah. D! Joe Flacco was 40 years old and his best years are behind him. Last year, he was trash. He was trash 2 years ago. He just won 4 games and they think he good in Cleveland. And Amber, Snacks need someone in here with a wrench. What's up, PC? Who did something? We can get them up out of here now. They're acting up. It's some federal shit that can tap into it. Yeah. Patricia McGee, Jeanette Fox has a wrench too. But Snacks will put him in timeout. Who acting up? Who acting up? Who acting up, Amber? Talk to me. Joaquin back? Joaquin, tell me you ain't acting up again, bruh. I know you ain't acting up. Is he acting up or is he trolling? If he trolling, we don't mind. You know, trolls gonna be trolls. We let them trolls do their thing. Do you guys notice this pattern? As soon as they say what happened to Shedeur, the Albert Brill thing is on TV defending the NFL owners. Albert Brill mouthpiece for the NFL owners, dog. Put these jerks on the oath and they would start talking. Byron Rose, where does he have a chance of a trade? Colts, Saints, Ram, anywhere else? They ain't gonna trade for him. They ain't stupid. Joaquin acting up. Joaquin, Jaquin, you acting up, dog. What you doing, man? You in here trolling again. Clyde, Moses and Jesus and Paul put their life on the line. That is true, my brother. Jesus paid it all. Matter of fact, get them up out of here, Snag. They won't let us get our shit off on ESPN Cleveland chat. They block all 12 fans. No, his trolling gets too serious. Big Snacks, the NFL. Reverend J.B. Nelson. What's up, Rev? I be seeing you over there in them other chats. Over there with Neely and them. Reverend J.B. Nelson, what you got? The NFL at this point, as Daniel 5 and 6 says, needs smoke once against another. Facts. They might not trade, but if he gets released, 20 teams lining up. The Texas Truth. You doggone right. KC, exactly. Blocking. They blocked me on ESPN Cleveland. They allowed me to call in on ESPN Cleveland. Why can't you need to cut it out, bro? You know how we get down. Can he please get an agent? I want all channels that have his back to advocate for that. They punish him for Deion acting in his interest and not catering to NFL politics. He has an agent. They have a whole team over there. They just don't like his daddy. And they never have. He has an agent. Having an agent had nothing to do with it. Yeah, they just don't like his daddy. They want to be sued. They want to be sued. They're billionaires. Yes, we whipping your ass. Cali, when everyone was talking shit in the political world about cats being eaten and making puppies and pots in Ohio, I remember some Browns fans asked Trump to get involved against the NFL and Cleveland. Trump ain't finna be involved with that stuff unless it benefit him. If it don't benefit him, you ain't gotta worry about it. But he don't like the NFL because they wouldn't let him in. And they did the right thing. They are holding him hostage because he's a money machine. Yeah, they've been marketing him like he a first round pick. Yeah, they are so lame over there. I might have been one of the first to get blocked saying free 12. They blocking y'all on ESPN Cleveland like that for real. That's crazy. He actually listened to Martinez Butler. Shedeur go have a good game tomorrow. If coach not BS with him, he getting out there. Yeah, he gonna ball out tomorrow. Kevin Stefanski, you mentioned you chose Joe because of experience. Suppose the owner chose Jimmy Johnson with experience over Kevin. Jimmy Johnson ain't coming back to coaching, dog. Texas because they don't like him, but don't want to let him go. That is true. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God is my God. Apostle Peter says, stand up. I am a man like you. Apostle Paul said, when I would go do good, evil was present. These holy men of God wasn't called celebrities. That is a fact. Evelyn Underwood, you better talk your talk, lady. They too soft over there. Yeah, they soft. A sports agent, I keep looking it up. Shilo got an agent. Shedeur might have a talent agent, but nobody's NFL certified. Or whatever it's called. We're going to have to look it up, Rose. Facts. Challenge was non-existent before Shedeur was drafted there. Yeah. According to code, Big Snacks bringing that fire. I listened to this whole live stream. Not many people bring it like this dude, and this is my first time, Big Snacks. You got you a subscriber. I appreciate it, Courtney. We do what we do over here, bro. We told y'all better hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Make sure you turn that post notification bell on because you never know. Well, you know. We going to bring the heat. We dropping straight facts. Y'all know we use it. When you come to the lunch table, bro, we ain't playing with you. Yes, they blocking 12. I'm going to have to go over there. Yeah, Shilo got Drew Rosenhaus as his agent. And we let him go. And the team starts him, it will have us losing. If we keep him on the bench, his value or morale goes down. Really? This is what we doing. They let them three widows say whatever they talk about, we can diss them back. Look, man, that's their panel. That's their channel. They have Shedeur mic'd up 2-3 times. What Dylan Gabriel mic'd up from his game. That's what I'm saying. I told y'all they created that show out of nothing, out of nowhere, out of old footage that they already had. That's why they ain't dropped nothing new this week. If they was for real about it, the show from everything that they did last week, they would have been dropped it already. It should have been dropped yesterday on Thursday so you could watch it for Friday and Saturday, leading up to the game. But they don't know what they're doing. They have no clue. Simply Stephanie. They don't like Shedeur's brand. It's powerful. Yes, it is. Shedeur is killing the game. At PC, Shedeur needs Drew Rosenhaus. He's a top tier and has a great relationship with Dion. Drew Rosenhaus is the best agent in the game. I tell you, brother, generation for real. Trump need to get involved. Trump ain't doing nothing unless it's for him. East Coast Care, we have some work for you. East Coast Care back in the house. You left me a super chat. Oh yeah, you got another one in here? I did your super chat. Care, where you be? I did the $10 super chat with the statement that Eric Dickerson made. Not only did we know it all along, but this proves why Prime should never coach in the NFL. Why would we want to go through that? Yeah, I did that one. What you talking about, Kel? Where you been, man? See, that's what you get for sneaking out. Trying to sneak out and then come back in like you ain't missed nothing. Stock market busy, yeah. Let me get some of that stock market money, though. Let me get some of them bonds. Some of that bread. Apple Peach. Shedeur Sanders also promoted his cleats during the press interview. Very smart. Oh yeah. He dropped the new DT96 is coming out. I'm not a Trump fan. However, he needs to get involved, man. Trump ain't getting involved in nothing. Of course, they didn't even show any of that. What we talking about? I might have to go look. I want to know what he's saying after the interception and fumble. Stefanski pulled him because he was losing his head. Yeah, Stefanski snatched him out the game. That's why he didn't come back third quarter. He'd have came back third quarter. He threw 2 more picks and probably fumbled a couple more times. They saw it just like I saw it. Better not put him back in there. Selmo Fudd. Selmo the homie. Y'all don't know. Tupac Shedeur is not new to this. Been through this when he was at Jackson State. Y'all didn't say nothing then. He cool in Cleveland. He not trying to quit his first NFL team. That ain't him. That's what I'm talking about. We talking about Dollar General Mike. Y'all just call that man Dollar General, man. Y'all ain't right, boy. Y'all is not right. Reverend JB Nelson, Selmo Fudd. I told you, both of y'all. I be seeing both of y'all there. Well, Selmo, Reverend JB. I'll be y'all up in there. Clyde Marshall, an angel God sent Hundley to comfort Shedeur said. Shedeur said he embraced me. Remember, Joe Flacco said, I am not here to develop. Joe Flacco ain't here to help nobody because he know his job is not safe at all. I don't want him to quit, but trading to a place where he actually gets reps, a chance to develop, would be better for him. Listen, the Cleveland Browns know that Shedeur is the best quarterback they have in that room. The reason why Shedeur hasn't been put up the way he should be, because Dylan Gabriel is their pick. They drafted him in round 3. They cannot look like idiots. They cannot look like they don't know what they're doing. When people are going to ask, why is Shedeur in front of Dylan, and you drafted Dylan in round 3, you wasted a draft pick. They don't want to look like idiots, because you got to remember, the GM is a Harvard guy. The head coach is a Penn guy. Those are Ivy League schools. They supposed to be geniuses. They supposed to know what they doing. But I'm just going to tell you like this. Kevin Stefanski is one of the worst evaluators of quarterback talent in the league. He been in Cleveland for 6 years. You still ain't produced no quarterback. You got rid of the best quarterback you had because he wasn't your quarterback. But you wasted a draft pick on Kenny Little Hands Pickett. Then you wasted another draft pick on Dylan Gabriel. Then you traded up 2 draft picks to get Shedeur. That's almost 6 draft picks down the drain. I don't know how he wins Coach of the Year twice. He is not a good evaluator of quarterback talent. The Cleveland Browns have started 9 quarterbacks in the past 2 years. 5 the year before, 4 last year. How does that even happen? How do you know what you're doing if that's what you do? That's crazy, right? No. But he's a good coach. You drafted a quarterback in the 5th round that knows that offense because he ran it in college. But you want to put your trust in a 5'11" quarterback that can't see over the freaking line. But he can throw dump off passes for 8, 9, and 10 yards. The stats bear it out. Dylan Gabriel is not better than Shedeur. And they are numbers guys, and the numbers say that. The numbers say that Dylan Gabriel is not, Dollar General is not better than Shedeur. It ain't. ain't no fiction involved in this. That's a numbers game. I told y'all after the game, Dylan Gabriel sucked when he went in the shotgun, when he was under center. Dylan Gabriel wasn't no good. In shotgun, yeah, that's when he completed all his passes. But under center, men lie, women lie. Men lie. Women lie. But numbers don't. Women lie, men lie, but numbers don't. And there go your numbers right there. Those are PFF numbers, who the NFL loves to use. Against the blitz, Shedeur is 6 of 7. Dylan is 5 of 7. Play action passes, Shedeur is 3 of 4, 75%. Dylan Gabriel is 1 of 6 from coming under center. Dylan Gabriel can't run that offense. That is a play action offense all day. Not one pass over 30 yards. Not one. Shedeur tried 2. They got one of them. 4 or 5 for anything intermediate. Dylan Gabriel is where he got most of his yards. He 5 for 7 passes from under 20 yards. But the numbers bear it out. Shedeur been killing him in practice. The numbers bear it out. But anyway, man. It's after 2 o'clock. It's almost time to get out of here. I'm going to have to go get my daughter in a minute. My baby girl. She's spoiled. I done told y'all that. Both of my daughters spoiled rotten. Love them to death, but they spoiled rotten. I'm gonna need for y'all to start putting in the donation, because both of them in college, and I ain't rich, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Y'all did the doggone thing. We almost 2 hours in. And just like always, y'all always at the lunch table. We love breaking bread with you guys. Y'all my homies. All to see you, auntie. Everybody that showed up. Even Reverend BJ Nelson, he finally came in the chat and hollered at your boy. This is about his second time I done seen him in the chat. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate all y'all for coming through. And as always, we love to do what we do. So make sure y'all are hitting that like button. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you turn that post notification bell on so you'll know when your boy is going live. And that's almost every day when I ain't running around for these kids of mine. You know, we sit down about noon. That's why it's the lunch table. Because we get to break bread. We get to eat our lunch and commune and have a little fun. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all truly have a blessed day. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. We'll break bread again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. We gonna stream the game, so don't y'all make sure y'all come hang out with me. And I know G Bush gonna go live at about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then game time, we gonna go live. We gonna watch Joe and compare. We gonna sit in the chat and take notes and talk about it. Then we gonna watch Dylan and we gonna sit in the chat and talk about it. Then we gonna watch Shedeur go out there and throw for about 304 touchdowns. And see what they gonna do then. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate each and every last one of y'all. Make sure y'all holler at your boy. Get ready for tomorrow. And I still might drop another one before the day over with. I got one in queue. We might go ahead and let it go. But anyway, man, I'm going to holler at y'all. Appreciate all y'all for hanging out with your boy. Having lunch, breaking bread. Thank you for attending the lunch table.